This is Mark Waid, writer of Superman Birthright, and you're listening to Krypton Report.
Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's the Krypton Report!
Tyler, and welcome to Krypton Report, a podcast dedicated to all things Superman, Supergirl. We're going to look at the Supergirl TV series as well as the Krypton TV series, anything that has to do with the characters in their world. Comics, movies, TV shows. We will talk about everything and anything. We are part of the Southgate Media Group podcasting network. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Krypton Report. You can also email us at kryptonreportpod@gmail.com. If you get a chance to go over to iTunes, Apple Podcast, please leave us a review to help us get better. You can find me personal at JTYPatrick on Twitter and everything else. You can buy a Krypton Report t-shirt at tpublic.com. Check it out. They have all sizes, colors, styles of shirts. Just go to tpublic.com and search Krypton Report, and you'll see our logo. And every time you buy a shirt, it helps support other podcasts from southgatemedia.com. Thank you. Enjoy the show. All right, so we're going to start this episode off real quick with a quote from Brendan Lowe of the Nightlight podcast, our friend from Down Under, and we were talking about Metropolis, and this is what he has to say. I don't have a great deal of thought on this, but I will say that I'm looking forward to Metropolis more than I am the Krypton series. Maybe because even though they're both pre-Superman, Metropolis focuses on characters that I actually know and give a crap about. Good thought. Moving on. Welcome to the Krypton Report podcast. Today is no surprise that there is no Supergirl. There's no Krypton yet, but there's always something to talk about. So I welcome back. I have my man Solo here with me, and the Superman of Earth 2, Mr. James Cole. Welcome, James.
Hello. How's it going?
It's going well. So we're going to kickstart this with some news type discussions. First of all, Solomon. Hey, put that T-Rex down. Don't play with him, buddy. Daddy's talking. Okay? So, we got... DC put out the picture of the poster they're going to release of the 1,000 covers of Action Comics poster that'll be for sale soon for $9.99. And it looks awesome.
Yeah, it does.
I'm going to buy that thing and stare at it with a magnifying glass. Because 1,000 covers is a lot.
Yeah, I hope the poster's big enough so you can, see each individual cover, at least fairly well.
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing is I'm really looking forward to seeing the New 52 books renumbered. I'm going to crack open my cold one, a.k.a. a cherry Coke. That's how we do it on Krypton. Other news that we got, I guess the New York Toy Fair, Funko officially revealed what the Smallville Pop Figures are going to look like. And I was a little caught off guard, I'll admit. Because originally I had seen different pictures for the Pops. Have you seen them yet?
I did. I had seen the old pictures, what they were going to look like, and then I just saw the new pictures today, and they got some interesting ones. They got some interesting ones for it, I'd say.
So we'll just run it down. We have this one makes sense. It's Scarecrow Clark Kent. Makes sense, one of the biggest images from Smallville, especially it's like the season 1 staple.
Yeah, it's on the cover of season 1 DVD.
Exactly.
Clark Kent as the Scarecrow with the S painted on his shirtless chest.
We have now here's where it starts to. We got President Lex. Okay, that makes sense. That was like foreshadowed and stuff. Not kind of the Lex I would have went with. I would have thought purple shirt, black suit with the like long black overcoat.
It makes sense. Yep.
We get Green Arrow. Okay, he was there for like half the series. Clark's buddy. Okay. Yeah. Then we get a Lois Lane.
On TV though.
Yeah. We get Lois Lane from season 10.
Real quick, and besides my wife watching Stephen Amell training in Arrow, I think she prefers Justin Hartley as Green Arrow.
You know what's funny is like they both are a little bit different than the comic book Oliver. And I think if we could mix them together, we'd have the perfect Green Arrow.
Right?
So we got the Lois, which is all right. Like, it's okay. But then, like, this is like weird because I love this figure, but at the same time, it's not the Clark that I want. And it's Clark Kent ripping his shirt to see the Superman S. And what's interesting is it's the actual S, more like the Christopher Reeve S, compared to the Superman Returns S they gave him. But that's the last shot of the series. Like, where's, red jacket, blue shirt Clark? Or blue jacket, red shirt Clark? Or plaid shirt Clark?
Well, definitely the blue shirt, red jacket. That was, the red shirt and blue jacket was earlier in the series, but it was definitely the staple of the red jacket later on. That's like, he wore that all the time. He never had a change of clothes.
Yeah, he didn't have other clothes. I think it'd be fun to go and watch Smallville how many times he's not wearing red or blue.
Oh yeah, he was always in primary colors.
There's one episode I watched, he had a white t-shirt with a like flannel over top, but it was yellowish, and I was like, what? What's this? But I'm gonna buy I've already pre-ordered my pop of Clark Kent. But I would prefer the season 10 red jacket with the S on it pop figure.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
But we got that. So we're just moving on down the line. This I just saw online. I don't know if you saw it yet. They just released a new poster for Krypton. And it says House of L, has the symbol, and has him in front of it, and it says Fight Like L.
Oh, no, I didn't see that. I did see some other promotional images. Something for the House of L. Something in Zod We Trust.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was the lady from the Zod trailer. And it says in Zod We Trust, and it has the Zod house symbol behind her. And then there's another one. It says the Vex Factor. And then another one as well says Us versus M, and it's EM. So that must be another house.
Cool. I wonder if they all got released like at the same time, and I haven't seen those yet.
Well, I am going to, as we speak, actually send them your way.
Sweet. I just sent you the other one that I was talking about. So when you see this Krypton poster, okay, his look and clothing makes me start to wonder if there's going to be like some episodes where he travels back in time or forward in time or whatever off of Krypton. Like if he'll end up on Earth or something, since we're going to deal with time travel and trying to stop something. I'm curious about it.
Yeah, they do look like they kind of have, more of an Earth-style jacket. He even kind of looks like he might be taken out of Smallville someplace. The House of L symbol is similar to the Man of Steel one, though.
Ah, see, you got, yeah. I got the fight like L you sent.
Yeah, I'm working on sending them all one by one here.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is that I feel like with the production the way it was, where it was supposed to be a tie-in to Man of Steel. Oh, that's cool. The Vex factor.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they couldn't get away from it too much. So they're trying to stay similar to it, but maybe not being exactly the Man of Steel. Thank you, Solo, for the Green Arrow toys, since you heard us talking about Green Arrow.
Excellent.
So we'll see. Now, as these arrive here, we'll talk. So for me and James here, something interesting about us is we both live in Ohio. And Ohio's famous for some stuff, I guess. But to me, it's famous because Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster created and lived in Cleveland, Ohio. Now, I wrote an article before, like, I don't know why and how Smallville eventually became Kansas, but you would think they would have made Smallville in Ohio, which would have been really awesome.
It would have. I mean, granted, Kansas is entire flatland, but there's quite a bit of Ohio, except for southern Ohio, that's flat and farmland.
Yep, I know. That's right where I'm at. I'm at the butt of it where it starts changing to hills.
Ah.
In Zod we trust. That is sweet.
Yeah.
I'm going to put those up on the Facebook here in a little bit. So, Cleveland, Ohio, there's been the Schuster Siegel Foundation is wanting to put a Superman statue in Cleveland, Ohio. They had a spot picked out near the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and then it just got rezoned or something, and now there's no spot for it. And they're trying to find a location. And to me, it's it's really sad because that's like cultural significance, and like it was supposed to be done this year for the 80th anniversary, and now it's not going to be. But I mean, that's something that's important to those people. Like, that's where the character was envisioned and created, was in Cleveland, Ohio. And it's like they don't even care. Stupid Ohioans.
Yeah.
We can say that.
10-foot long. Yeah, we can say that being from Ohio. 10-foot long Superman, about 4,000 pounds, I guess they said. And they want it on top of a column about 36 foot high to about the tip of the Superman in flight. Pretty awesome, I'd say. And it's sad that for the 80th anniversary, yeah, it's not ready yet. They've still got a few sites in mind, as I was looking up as of about a week ago, six or 7 days ago.
What's crazy is I almost feel like the in flight is cool, but for Siegel and Schuster, it should almost be the pose from Action Comics 1, or a very similar pose of him standing. I don't have it.
Oh, the iconic Superman, the hands on the hips, hands above the hips, right up against the waist.
Yes, exactly. Like, because I mean, when Superman was first created, he didn't fly, he leaped and jumped, and I just feel like,
flight has pretty much been a staple since only about 3 to 4 years after his creation. Since they basically adapted it in the Fleischer cartoons in the early 40s.
Exactly.
He started to jump, but eventually at some point the jump kind of led to a change. He could start defying gravity.
that's just kind of one of those things. I just wish that the city of Cleveland would be like, you know what, this is important. Maybe we should.
Oh yeah, a worldwide recognizable, icon. Like, he's the moral good of, like just 100% morally good character. I mean, that is something that should definitely, obviously city people, they'll have their priorities, but that the character inspires so many people to be better, to be a better version of themselves and be a better person. That it should be something that should be celebrated.
Yes, it should. It should, and so.
At least in Ohio, they gave us the Superman license plate.
Yeah, I know. Then you bring those suckers back. It's the 80th year.
Yeah, I missed my chance to get one at the time that they came out, and I am very disappointed because I would never ever get rid of that license plate.
So moving on, Scott Snyder, the writer, Scott Snyder, will be taking over the book Justice League. And when he does, I will begin buying and reading Justice League again.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love his writing. His run on Batman, I have every copy of his run on Batman from the New 52. It was awesome.
I have heard very good things. That is actually one of the things that I'm trying to go back and pick up is starting Batman from the beginning of the New 52.
Just get the trades, man. So much easier.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna get the trades. I am definitely a trades person. Sadly, I'd like to buy the issues, but I like to read the stories together. There's only a couple of things, Action Comics, Superman, that I buy the issues, and actually those I usually buy digitally on my tablet. I buy trades, graphic novels. I'm currently buying Doomsday Clock as the issues come out.
Yep. The only thing that I'm buying and reading right now, like constantly on time, is Action, Superman, and Doomsday Clock. Other stuff I catch up when I can and read when I can.
Speaking of Scott Snyder, I haven't read any of Metal.
I haven't read Heavy Metal either.
I haven't read any Metal. Another podcast, the DC Comic Squadcast. I listen to them, and so I've heard a lot about Metal, and it sounds amazing. And I can't wait till the collected trades come out. So I've been able to keep up on a lot of stuff that I'm not able to read, that I'm not able to keep up on until I buy the trades.
That's how I am right now with, with Metal, is like, I will wait for the trades because, there's just some things you can't keep up with.
It costs a lot of money to keep up with an entire line of comics. So
yeah, that's why I had to make my peace and be like, just Action and Superman.
That's it for me too. That's the exact same reason.
Every now and then I might get like a tie-in book or two, because I got the Batman, 2 issues of Batman where him and Selina went on the date with Clark and Lois. I got those 2, and then I also got the tie-in issues for the stuff that was going on with Super Sons, the crossed over with Superman with Jonathan.
Yeah, Teen Titans.
Yeah.
With Tim Drake after, what was it? Super Sons of Tomorrow was the line. I think that was the crossover. But yeah, Tim Drake Batman after Jonathan Kent.
I highly recommend Scott Snyder's writing. I really like his American Vampire writing as well. So just not his superhero stuff is awesome. So that's that. Now we're going to segue into another Snyder. So this is one of those things that's so hard to talk about. Rumors keep coming out that Snyder was fired from Justice League. And they used his daughter as like a cover-up way to like let him exit honorably. You know, I don't know what to believe. You and I were talking before. You know, Whedon came in and did stuff, but he's been quiet. Like, he's not done press. He's not talked about it. He's done nothing in the light to say anything for Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the last time Whedon was in any press was when he was doing Batgirl. Or they had talked about him doing a Batgirl movie. So I just think...
Yeah, it's been uncharacteristically quiet. I mean, you know, there are reports that he was fired. Nothing official. You know, there are conflicting reports that no, he wasn't fired, that he got through so much of this work, of his part of production, post-production all the way through May. And he just couldn't, you know, I mean, like they had said, you know, I mean, that's a terrible tragedy what happened, you know, his daughter killing herself. And, you know, that's what they had said, that he had dove into work for 2 months after that he tried to deal with it by working constantly, and just didn't work for him and his family. And that's understandable, you know. It's just, you know, could the studio possibly have given him the time to, you know, leave with his family and push the movie back and let him complete it, you know?
I kind of think they should have. I think they should have kept and moved Justice League more to a March spring release.
Mm-hmm.
Gave it some more time. Maybe they could have smoothed out the mustache issues for the, you know, let him heal, let him finish his vision. I mean, you were already coming off the high of Wonder Woman. The less controversy, the better going into Justice League's.
Absolutely. Well, everything was a controversy when it came to it, you know. I mean, him departing, Joss Whedon coming on, Junkie XL being fired, Danny Elfman coming on.
See, here's we're talking about that
with the mustache.
The mustache.
The runtime. I mean, people freaked out at 2 hours.
Well,
which, I mean, honestly, I feel the 2 hours probably hurt it a little bit, just because they cut out too much to fit into that 2 hours. But
I say it hurt it because he had already made the film and wrote it, planned it, shot it to be larger. I mean, BVS is like the director's cut was the release cut was 3 hours. You know, and look at the little things that add in how much better of a film that was. And so 2 hours isn't a problem when they say, hey, Zach, make a 2 hour movie. You know, you approve a script that's a 2 hour script. You know, but when you get a film, you're making it, and then your son shows up and decides to play with every toy that makes noise. You know,
yeah,
story.
My daughter and her friend are on the computer watching YouTube trying to make noise.
The life of being a parent.
Right.
So that's going to segue us into this. We've gotten 2 scenes released of Superman that were directed by Snyder. Which one do you want to talk about first?
Well, let's talk about the one they released first. The ship, where he enters the ship.
So we get a really great shot of Cavill walking into the ship, and we get to see more of how the costumes and utility suits are made, like come out, because as he's walking in, and I got thinking about this later, Cyborg basically made a brand new key for him for the ship, got the ship working. So, because I was thinking, how come the ship wasn't working? Then I thought about that, and I was like, Cyborg made like a command key. And we see one of the space exploration suits, And then we see the black suit, which to me, the black suit's not that big of a deal because it was already teased in Man of Steel.
Mm-hmm.
And there has to be some significance of what the black suit means in Kryptonian. Like, is that like more of their war suits? Like, is that what you wear when you're going to war or something? Or is it kind of like a hierarchy of, like in Star Trek? I'm not a huge Star Trek fan, so if I say anything wrong, people don't crucify me. But, you know, the captains and, like the gold shirts in the original series, the science officers wear the blue, the engineers are red, and then you have the red shirt, security guards. You know, like what if because if you think about it, Jor-El's underskin was like a dark blue. And then Zod and all his people were black. And then, so I wonder if there's significance to the color of the under second skin.
Right. Perhaps maybe what they do, you know, what their basis in society is. You know, maybe it's some kind of, you know, maybe something is, I don't know if it's maybe either something colorful is formal wear, or maybe the black and silver is formal wear. You know, they didn't really
feel like
go
the
into
black's
that.
More like the drones, like maybe the bottom, because I'm trying to think back. Wasn't it like a blue that the council people wore? Oh no! If I was downstairs, I'd pop it in, but I'm not around it right now.
Well, they had, I mean, they certainly had a lot of gold, you know, headdresses and on their cloaks and things like that.
So, you know, that scene shows that, and it was great. It's short. It makes you want more, but it's
52 seconds, like 52 seconds of him walking into the ship. One, the Hans Zimmer score playing, which was so great to hear, seeing as all we got was a tiny bit of it, when they brought him into the ship to resurrect him, and then a small bit in the cornfield, but very little in the film. So it was great to hear the Hans Zimmer. Plus, you know, him being in the ship, you know, showing the space suit, showing the black suit. It actually ties it back to Man of Steel, you know, kind of, you know, brings the whole thing together as a trilogy.
Yes. And his character, and just kind of, that's been the through line, you know?
Mm-hmm. But 50 some seconds was so impressive, and he didn't do anything. It was just the way the scene was shot, the music,
And
Henry Cavill.
His, you know, just him acting, like, without words and everything, just how good that was.
It was, and he had a look of wonder and a look of enjoyment on his face, and he didn't say anything, and it was so good.
It just makes you want more.
It does. It's so sad that stuff like that had to end up on the cutting room floor to make for the time, you know. I mean, was that scene and then the next scene, I mean, total of what, 2 minutes? Was that 2 minutes really going to hurt that extra showing a day?
Well, even then, like,
that they wanted to get from making it under 2 hours. It's just,
but even, let's think, what could I cut out to save me 2 minutes? Let me think. Oh, I know. You were the thirstiest reporter. Let's see. That whole setup of the lady complaining, my husband, he's missing. I'm going to get those aliens and blah, 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 blah.
yeah.
Could have cut that.
Yep.
Let me see. Could have cut maybe like some 5 or so seconds here and there with the Russian family. Could have cut, let's see. Oh, I just thought of it. Poop. I forgot. Oh, could have cut up. Something's definitely bleeding. Up.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, all this to say, you know, we love Justice League. It was a great movie. It was great to finally see it on screen. all this is all this, what it could have been is, it's just us sad because we loved Man of Steel so much and BVS so much, and it actually being the brainchild of Zack Snyder. That's the only reason that it's like, why didn't they do this? Why it sounds negative to talk about Justice League, and it's only sounds negative because of what it could have been. But
Yep.
The movie is entirely positive, from our point of views.
Exactly. Like, once again, we can make fun of it because we love it.
Exactly.
So, which brings us to scene number 2, which still gives me chills.
That was awesome.
It's the scene we were teased in the trailer where Alfred says, "I knew you'd come." And
He said, yeah.
And what I love about it is we hear the boom sound of him flight in the distance, and then you just see him descend down into the Batcave, and he says, "You must be Alfred."
Yes. And what's crazy is actually if you go and rewatch the trailers, you see two parts of that scene in the trailers. You see the Jurassic Park water, the little ripples in the cup. It's funny. My wife was like, "It's hilarious that everybody calls that Jurassic Park water now."
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, exactly. But the ripples in the in the cup, you saw those in the trailer, and then you see that the Alfred, let's hope it's not too late in the trailer. Both of those in the trailer, and that entire scene is gone.
Yeah. What did we? The entire scene's gone. But like he says, "You must be Alfred." And Alfred responds, "Master Kent." Like,
yes.
Alfred's showing him respect because Alfred was always on his side.
Mm-hmm. And he was smiling.
Yeah.
And Superman was smiling.
He was smiling. He just seemed like, man, like you just want to give him a hug and like, bro, high five. Bro, it out.
Zack Snyder shot. Superman was smiling. Everybody complained he never smiled, although I recall seeing him smile in both Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman. So apparently just people weren't paying attention.
And that pretty much takes care of our news. So now we're going to get into the meat of this episode. We're going to hold off one thing that we were going to talk about. We'll save that for our next podcast. But we're going to look at Superman Earth 1, Volume 1, written by the great J. Michael Straczynski. Now, I have the trade. Do you have the trade as well? Wait, it was only in trade. Never mind, I'm stupid.
I do have the trade, and I have Volumes 2 and 3 as well.
So
still hoping and waiting for Volume 4.
Which there's not going to be one.
Oh, really?
I actually, after the other night when you and I were talking and I was rereading this, I tweeted at J. Michael Straczynski because I actually had tweeted him before and told him how much I loved his Superman. And I asked him, he said there won't be a 4 because it was only envisioned as a 3-story. And he said it has an arc at the end of 3. And I said, yes, it does. It has a great one. But I want more. I love this Superman. And so this came out.
Well, that's disappointing. But anyways.
Yeah, it is. So I'm pulling this up real quick here. This came out right before the New 52 reboot. I'm trying to find the release date compared to the publication real quick. Hold on.
I got a copyright of 2010.
Yep, and that's why I want to see when it was published. The first volume was published in the U.S. in 2010 and in the U.K. in 2011. So it says October 2010. So 1 year, basically, before we got the New 52. And honestly, I would have loved this to have been the jumping point for Superman for the New 52. But we're going to take it just kind of look at it together and talk about it. And we'll talk about what I love about this. First of all, we get Clark riding his train into Metropolis. And this is kind of like that. He's kind of like that Smallville Clark, where he's part Superman, part Clark. He's not embraced either character set yet. We see him. He's getting an apartment. He's kind of just in the background, exploring the city. Stops a guy who tries to mug him. And then we find out he's there to audition. He's there to find a job. And I think this is great because this highlights Clark's ability to do pretty much whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, he comes in, and it highlights a lot of the character. The first thing he goes for is football tryouts. And, they're worried because he's small, which actually, is counter to everything that Superman's always been. He's always grown really big and tall. And it's not that he's small. He's just not like one of the largest guys. He's not like 6'4", he's not like 260 pounds. He's probably like 6 foot, he's probably more like Henry Cavill, which, they made a thing about him not being bigger than Ben Affleck, that Batman is actually bigger than Superman in the film universe. And, they did that for a reason that,
Affleck's 2 inches taller than him. He's 2 inches taller. I get that, but still.
And actually that was something that Snyder had spoken about before on Batman versus Superman, where Superman's standing, the shot where he rips the top off of the Batmobile and Ben Affleck stands up and he's on top of the Batmobile and Ben Affleck's in the Batmobile and they're still staring at each other face to face, in a straight line of sight.
So
he liked the idea that Superman, even though he's smaller, he's still larger than life. He's still way more powerful.
Yes. And I think that's really interesting. I mean, getting back to the book.
Yes, sorry.
No, you're fine. We're going to go off on tangents because I'm going to weave some more stuff in here. We find out that Clark impresses everybody at Tryouts. The guy says, get a contract down here right now. And they say, how much? And he says, leave it blank. So we learn right here that Clark can make money if he wants to. If Clark
absolutely.
wants money, he can make money. He goes to a science lab, and he says they're working on equations. Clark figures it out, and they offer him a job on the spot. And we find out that he basically wants to earn money to take care of his mom. He had, and then we get like a montage page of him in the lab, him playing baseball, him in a construction site. And then he walks past a newspaper stand and gets a copy of The Planet and goes in to try to interview with Perry White. And I think it's interesting that The Planet's such a significant paper, but at this point it's starting to go downhill.
Mm-hmm. It's the current times, the rise of the digital age as opposed to the printing newspapers.
And I think there's room for both, but I won't get into that right now because can be boring to some people. But I think the digital age, because we can do things quickly, we don't do things as efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
Where with the newspaper, we have to take our time and make sure everything's perfect before we print it and say what needs to be said.
Yeah.
And
that translates over to media, TV and videos, People don't want to watch program television, scheduled television programs. All anybody wants to do is binge watch something and just inhale the entire thing and then like be done with it.
Which is kind of funny because so much of news stories, when they're like live or on, digital, are just little nuggets of information. And the paper provides more of the entire story.
Well, yeah, speaking of like digital journalism, how many articles are just clickbait?
Oh, I know.
A headline or something just to draw somebody's attention, just to get that click. And when you open it up, it's either completely different, completely wrong, or has no bearing on what they decided to title it just so that they could get a click.
And
it loses the integrity of journalists when they do stuff like that.
Totally agree with you. That's my advice to anyone who sees things on Facebook and wants to click. Read the comments real quick to make sure it's worth clicking on. Just a heads up.
Mm-hmm.
And do you look down and see like the first panel of Lois? Doesn't she kind of look like Jennifer Carpenter from Dexter, who recently voiced Selena Kyle on Batman Gotham by Gaslight?
Well, I actually have not seen Dexter, so couldn't really say otherwise.
Well, people out there listening, you can tweet us. And basically, Perry White gives him the whole spiel about the paper, what it is, who it is, can't pay much, blah, blah, blah. And then he gives Clark an application, and Clark just chucks it in the trash. And then we get an awesome shot of basically Clark above the sky. We get some flashbacks about Clark as a child, how the Kents found his spaceship. And I'm not going to go...
Shot of Clark all the way in space. Like, he flies way away from the Earth.
Oh, I know.
Forgot about that shot. Like, he's not Superman yet, and he already knows that he can travel out into space.
That's my favorite.
And then we get a page that has young Clark getting beat up by a bully. And, the bull's calling him name and all this. And I like this because then it's that same, like, I feel like there's hey, buddy. I kind of wish Man of Steel would have pulled more from this book when re-envisioning Superman. I feel like this book is extremely strong, and there's a lot of good, ways to represent Superman in a modern age in this. And this panel is very similar to the scene in Man of Steel, where he's getting hit and attacked by bullies at school, and he wants to
by Foreman.
And he wants to hit back, but he doesn't.
Yeah, I had actually read an article about the writing of this being paralleled in the writing of Man of Steel. And they were like, don't worry about the similarities that'll come up. They were written by totally different people, but so many similarities paralleled each other. And they're like, just do it. Like, don't even worry about what this one's doing and this one.
Which is very interesting when you think about, like, what mindset everyone had to be in at that time to envision what they wanted out of their Superman. We see Clark at Jonathan's grave. He's talking to him about I see, buddy. About the promise he made, and then we find out that the military has Clark's ship.
Yeah, when they were talking to him, telling him about his origin, about where he came from, all they said was they had a piece of the ship, that all they could recover was a chunk, just a small piece, and that's all that he had. And come to find out, the military has it.
And then somehow the military is able to activate the ship, which activates the piece that Clark has. And we see here that... Hold on, I'm trying to look for the exact... that information is written on the ship in the atoms and the molecules. And we see like a zoom in of the atoms and it has all the Kryptonian writing on it. And we see that special Kryptonian H symbol. And because of that piece of the ship activating, it burns up Clark's room that he's renting. And it actually hurts Clark. Because he says, so that's what pain is.
Yeah, never really felt it before.
And
even
then,
as a kid.
What's crazy is I didn't catch this the first time I read it. But when the ship activates and hits Clark in with a energy beam in the brain, he falls to the ground and makes a crater. And then on the next, 2 panels, ooh, excuse me, Perry White says, "What is that?" And Lois says, "An earthquake." And then we see a spaceship show up. And this is what I like about this story. Is we see a spaceship and a space invasion that's coming, and we're getting everything from Jimmy and Lois's point of view as they're going to investigate. Clark's still knocked out, and he has a vision of his parents and Krypton's destruction, and his father actually looks like him. And we get... See, this is very interesting because this kind of reminds me a little bit of like how Zod came and Zod did the broadcast. But in this, what I like is this guy's been going from planet to planet trying to eradicate Kryptonians. He doesn't know for sure if Clark's here or Cal. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So his thing is he'll destroy the planet even if he's not. So he is just bad, period. The thing I didn't like in Man of Steel is I hated the fact that Zod came to Earth because that's where they found out Clark was. And Clark accidentally called them there. But I like the idea that they're just there and Clark just happens to be there too.
Yeah, as he's seeing a vision of his parents, they say they worry if he should be followed by somebody. So, perhaps, he had some indication of where in the galaxy he might have been sent.
Well, Tyrell is the character, says that he'd been to other worlds and destroyed them looking. And this is what's crazy. Is Clark goes to that laboratory with the piece of the tech to help make something to fight back and to help. And the guy from the laboratory says, basically, it's not his problem. And Clark has a flashback. And in the Christopher Reeve film, he says, you'll be called on to do everything. And he's not there to do everything. He's there to lead by example. He's there to help. And so we get him putting on the suit, and we get a full page reveal of the suit. And I will say this. I like the suit. I don't like the boots. And I wish they had lost the trunks earlier in this. Like, this was like the newest last thing for a while with him with the trunks.
Yeah. And I mean, actually considering, it has the trunks and, I think the suit, it all flows together really well.
It does.
The trunks could be a standout, goes back to the circus performers that, they designed him after. And, but this actually the trunks on the outside here with the belt loops, it actually flows together very well. It's probably one of the best looking suits with the trunks on.
It is. And, we're looking at during this time frame, Smallville had just ended a few months before this was printed. Smallville ended in this. No, wait. No, I take that back. When this came out,
Yeah,
Smallville's 10th season premiered.
Yep.
So that puts, some things in perspective. So Superman is out, destroying the ships, saving people. Tyrell decides to make an attack. Catches him off guard. They begin fighting. He gets cut in the face. Tyrell tells the story of how Krypton and his planet were in this interesting, Cold War, basically not allowing each other to deep space travel. And they eventually invaded each other and killed on each other. And what I had forgotten in this is that people had shown up. And I'll read this. Until they came to us with a proposition about how they could destroy Krypton. And I forgot that somebody came to the Tyrell's planet and created the plan to destroy Krypton. And Tyrell is going to do the same thing to Earth. With giant drills. And then we learn he has a huge red solar energy beam.
Where's Mom? She's not right now.
And we get a cut back of him thinking about Pa Kent. And it's very reminiscent of that red solar energy beam beating on him. Much like the beam was beating on him in Man of Steel, where he has to fly through the world engine, which is one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie.
Yeah, as the world engine is beating down on him. As the gravity field is beating down on him.
And I love that Jimmy tries to get in there to help him, because Jimmy and Lois see what's going on, and they can't get to him. So what they do is they throw a chain to him and drag him out with a truck to get him out of the red solar. And then boom, he's back to full juice.
Yeah, driving the truck through the gravity and the red solar energy, and it's crushing the truck as they're driving through it.
And there's going to be a great quote coming up. But Superman beats crap out of Tyrell. And he goes and he gets his ship. But I don't want to say something too fast. Hold on. He goes and gets his ship from the lab. And what I love is, as he goes back and he puts on his regular Clark Kent clothes, he runs into that scientist who originally had offered him the job that he had took the tech to help. And he says, the guy offers him, he says, "Sorry, not my department." And then we see him at a store buying a tie and some dress clothes. And he puts on the glasses. And we see him at the paper. He goes into the paper and they're looking at Jimmy's photos. And Clark says he got an interview with Superman about an hour ago. And about being on the paper, and he says some things that prove that he was there. But, Lois and Jimmy are kind of grilling him about why he wants to work at the planet and all this. And I love what Clark says, because this is really Superman talking. He says, "I was out there with everybody else, and I saw you both. Both of you. And you never backed down, didn't walk away. And because of that, a lot of people are alive right now who might be dead otherwise." So I love that it's that. And then I love the fact that this part where all these outlets are asking to use the pictures that only the Daily Planet has of Superman, and Perry's just telling them no. And basically Superman saves the Daily Planet.
Yeah.
And then we see that Clark takes his ship up into deep in Antarctica where the ship's going to teach him some things about who he is and where he's from. And the book ends with Lois and Jimmy on the roof getting a shot of Superman. And I know we kind of went through it quickly, but I wanted to talk about it, but I want people still to read it for themselves. Because if you're a Superman fan, this is your book. If you're not a Superman fan, but you just want to read a Superman story, I recommend this. I recommend this whole
Absolutely. Volumes 1 through 3.
And I mean, it's not a hard read. It's not, you can get through it in a, not very long. It's got great art. It's a great story. And you walk away feeling fulfilled with a Superman story. You're not feeling like you missed out, or it's a self-contained story. I mean, it has the threads to make a sequel, but it also has a self-contained story. Now,
yeah. It's a very good interpretation of Superman. A lot of people talk about him being boring. All they ever look at is the archetype that Superman is. And the good stories are about the character. The person he is.
The choices he
struggles. The choices he makes. The struggles he's faced as a person. And I mean, that kind of gets me like, people they're like, they want to either see the archetype, like the Christopher Reeves archetype Superman, but then the greatest stories told about Superman are the character stories. And I mean, that's Man of Steel, that's BVS, yet those things are like, they're scrutinized to and held to so many standards, to so many double standards. Bugs me.
You're absolutely right. It makes me mad when people tell me Superman's boring, he's so powerful. I'm like, well, yeah, but he's so powerful. Why doesn't he just rule the world? Why doesn't he do this? Like, why is he who he is and the choices he makes? And what does that mean for him? Like, one day everyone he loves will be dead and he'll still be alive? Like,
yeah. But then everybody's like, Superman's so powerful and he's boring because he's so powerful. Nobody can beat him. And then they're like, oh, but that's...
My son's crazy.
Well,
I will say that Christopher Reeves definitely made an archetype of the character and put his stamp on the character. But I'm working on writing something right now that's going to talk more about his character and how iconic it was, but yet how different it was in a lot of ways from what people had known of Superman at the same time.
Yeah.
So, Superman Earth 1, Volume 1. On a letter grade, what would you give it?
On a letter grade, I would have to say for the character development, for the motivations, the choices that the character makes, the story elements that they use, the originality, and the artwork. I mean, this is an A. Earth 1 is an A for me. It's one of my favorite Superman stories, and it not being canon, being self-contained. It's extremely entertaining. And, it really makes Superman, Clark Kent out to be a person, and throughout this entire story, he doesn't know who he is or where he's from. That's the start of Man of Steel, doesn't know who he is or where he's from, just, what he can do, or at least part of what he can do. And, it's all about the choices he makes as a person. And it's great. It's an A for me.
I, too, give it an A. Like, there's nothing higher I could rank this, because It's a great Elseworld self-contained Superman story where you can take this, read it, love it, and you don't have to do anything else. You don't have to know all this backstory. You're getting everything right here.
Yeah, it doesn't exactly. You don't have to know the canon to read this and know Superman.
All right, I think I hear Solo calling me, so anything else you want to say, James, before we part and head back to our Earths and save the day?
Well, I can't wait to review Volume 2 and Volume 3. Anybody who hasn't, who's listening, go pick out Superman Earth 1, all 3 volumes. They are all great. Yeah, I mean, that's all I really got to say about that. Just pick it up, read it. You don't have to be, you're just looking to read a Superman story. You don't have to be a Superman fan. You're just looking to read a good Superman story. Pick up Superman Earth 1.
Email us at kryptonreportpod@gmail.com. If you get a chance to go over to iTunes, please leave us a review to help us get better. If you're an Amazon shopper, just remember you can go to southgatemediagroup.com. There's a portal log into Amazon, and you'll shop into your account just regular, but it also helps keep all the podcasts on and helps keep Southgate running. Remember, look up in the sky.